ever noticed the moment things feel good, you seem to sabotage it? This has nothing to do with a lack of gratitude. It has everything to do with survival. And if good moments feel uncomfortable to you, this video is for you. Today, we are answering the question. I can't get that. There we go. Why do I sabotage good moments? If you are a person who does this, it's okay, because you're not alone, and it's not something that you can't learn to stop doing. And that's pretty much what this video is about. We're going to get into the why this may happen, and the cost of it happening, right? And also the valid reasons as to why it happens. All behavior communicates something. You're not just doing it for no reason, and it didn't just come out of nowhere. You know, all behavior has some root, and it's good to figure out what that root is. So the first of why we're going to get into. Why does this happen? Okay. Your nervous system associates peace with threat. Your nervous system associates peace with threat. So where could this have come from? Typically from your childhood. It's something that you experienced that, you know, when things felt like they were going well, something bad happened. You may associate it with abandonment. You may associate it with some form of chaos quickly following it, a fight, someone leaving, just something bad. It's almost like I don't trust it because the other shoe is going to drop. You've seen it so many times in your childhood that when it pops up, when things just feel good, you're like, I don't believe it. So what would another why be? You learned that consistency isn't reliable. So even if you did see someone who is showing some level of consistency, probably not in childhood, but like now, we'll get into the cost later. We'll talk about how this formed, right? We'll talk about more of the origin of this right now. So you learn that consistency isn't reliable. You may have seen a caregiver of yours, her stories, some vicarious trauma is a real thing. If someone continues to tell you about the difficult situations of their own life, you may begin to embody some of those same struggles. If it's really imprinted on you to believe it, or it may be something that you yourself actually experience as well. So the person who was caring for you, they just weren't consistent. You know, consistency is just a word to you. It's not an action. You don't actually believe that people are consistent because the person who was supposed to be consistent in your life, they just didn't show up reliably. So that's another why. Why do I sabotage good moments? Right? All of this is pointing to the fact that you just don't, in a sense, value it. Not because it's not valuable, but you don't value it because you don't trust it. You don't trust that good moments actually remain good moments. So attachment activates, and now we're talking about trigger. Anytime we see activate, we're talking about a trigger. We're talking about, you know, the spark of what makes you begin to feel uncomfortable. Attachment activates a fear response. Again, these are the triggers. When you begin to attach to somebody, it makes you feel more fearful than it does peaceful and comfortable, because those who you begin attaching to in life, they just weren't reliable. They didn't prove to you that this is something that can, you know, last over time. They prove to you more so that it's not something that lasts. And when people come into your life and attach to you, they're only going to detach from you at some point, right? And not because of, death or some type of, natural cause. They detach to you by choice, right? They abandon you by choice. So, or it doesn't even necessarily have to be like a physical abandonment. It could just be an emotional abandonment, right? Because we also deal with people detaching from us emotionally in our lives. So we feel like just because, you're attached to me today doesn't mean that if I do something to you, you may detach from me, or something external may happen and you just shut down and detach from me. And now I'm kind of left to deal within my own feelings. So attachment activates a fear response. When I get too close to people, I become fearful. So I sabotage it. So I give myself an out, right? Sabotage also has to do with a level of control, which we'll talk about more later. So those are the why. I do believe we have another why. Yes. And this is a big one. And if this is something you experience, this is probably, if sabotaging good moments is something you experience, you've probably noticed this and possibly even have had people around you mention this to you because it stands out. So, chaos. I want to get it right. Chaos is familiar. That eye is awful. Bear with me, guys. The whiteboard is not always my friend. Chaos is familiar and peace is unfamiliar. I see this a lot with children. I used to work in a school years ago. I actually worked in a school for a really long time, like 9 years. I did behavioral health work in the school. And this is something that popped up a lot with the kids. When children are in environments that are constantly chaotic, when they come into environments that are supposed to be calm and peaceful, like a learning environment should be, they don't know how to handle it. Because a lot of times what chaos brings, to you through experience, like what chaos does to your nervous system, all of that becomes very loud and quiet atmospheres. So the traumas that you may face during chaos, conversations that you should not have heard, things that you should not have seen in chaotic environments, when you come into a calm and peaceful environment, those things replay in your head. Some of it would be called PTSD, depending on, the level of trauma that you experience within these chaotic situations. But it's not always PTSD. Sometimes it's just your nervous system. Your nervous system is so heightened that when you come into a calm and peaceful environment, you don't know how to calm down. You try to bring your chaos to peaceful environments because chaos is what's familiar. And when things become too peaceful, your nervous system doesn't know how to balance that out. You also begin to think of things that you may not want to think about. So you begin to create chaos around you. And like I said, this shows up all the time in children when they come into school environments that are supposed to be peaceful and calm, which is also why a lot of school environments become so chaotic, because the children are bringing the chaos from their environments into this situation that was not built to handle that level of chaos. Whole other conversation. So that is, that's a why. Chaos is familiar and peace is unfamiliar. So I want you to know that if you are a person who experiences this, that you are not, you're not broken. You're surviving. And I give kudos to anyone who has been able to adapt their behavior to continue to survive and to make it to where they are right now. Now, that does not mean that you cannot change. That doesn't mean that you can't learn new tools that will make you a more peaceful, happy person. But these things, you're not a broken person because you sabotage good moments. You are having a natural response to the things that you have seen in your own childhood and the things that, you have learned. You're trying to bring back a sense of control to yourself. And I understand that. So what's a reason this may happen, right? What's a good reason for this? Because you have good reasons for your behavior. People don't, like I said, people don't just do things out of nowhere for no reason. You have a good reason for your behavior. So let's honor what those good reasons may be. So, first good reason, protective response. It's a protective response. It's not self-destructive. And when you were a child, when good moments happen, they often kind of just fell into bad memories or bad moments, then you learned that good moments don't actually exist, right? You would learn to sabotage good moments because you're trying to keep yourself from experiencing the hurt of what you feel inevitably comes next. So that absolutely makes sense. I've heard a lot of people, and I've met a lot of people who have some severe anxiety around holidays. And holidays, by nature, I would say, seem like they should be good moments, right? They're a time where family is able to gather. There's a time where, you think more about others than you think about yourself. But there are an entire slew of people who hate holidays because their anxiety shoots through the roof. And the reason their anxiety shoots through the roof is because holidays are, like I said, a time where things are supposed to be really happy moments, yet those good moments always seem to come with some sort of strife. They come with a fight, whether it's verbal or physical. They come with just chaos. It comes with disagreement. So they feel like, I have this experience where, everybody else is seemingly, so happy about this moment, but I am like fear-ridden that there is something coming in this moment, that this good moment is going to be somehow ruined. Okay? So, like I said, it makes sense if this is something that you've repeatedly experienced. So it's a protective response. If I sabotage the moment, then it's within my control. Then I can keep myself from inevitably feeling the hurt or rejection that may come from this good moment happening, right? Because there's an attachment in your head. There is a pattern that you have formed in your thought process by experience. So it's a protective response. So you're not part of that protective response. You're not ungrateful, right? You're not sabotaging it because you're ungrateful. You're sabotaging it because you don't want to be hurt. And that's what we talked about. I don't want to be hurt. And that's what we talked about as far as that sense of control. If I do it, then nobody else can do it to me, right? If I do it, at least I know what to expect. At least I can bring some my own level of consistency to what's going to happen, because I'm taking it into my own hands to X this situation out so that the other person doesn't do it and I'm not left feeling like feeling broken or that I have to pick up the chips. So some people in relationships, right? I'm going to leave you before you can leave me. That sort of thing. So the pillar, we're going to talk about the pillar because on this channel, on this YouTube channel, we look at everything through the framework of the whole method. The whole method comes with 5 pillars: witness, heal, own, love, execute. The 5 pillars. And what the whole method is, it is a roadmap to your transformation. It is a roadmap to the most joyous life that you can experience, because it teaches you to better understand yourself so that you can live the life that you want to live. You can have the relationships that you want to have. You can have the level of peace that you would like to have. So that is the whole method. So we're going to see what pillar, why do I sabotage good moments? What pillar does this fall in? And it falls into the pillar witness, which is the first pillar. The reason it falls into the pillar witness is because within witness, we are going from chaos to awareness, right? I'm not going to write that down. You're just going to have to say it with me. We're going from chaos to awareness. That is what the witness pillar is. And in order to change something within your behavior, you have to first notice that you're doing it. So a lot of people, why do I sabotage good moments? when they read this title, they may have been like, oh, that's me. It may have been the first time that they realized, that this is something that they actually do. So you can't change what you don't even know exists. So that's why it's in the witness pillar, because you have to first understand and unpack your thoughts to gain some level of some level of awareness around your behavior to make any sort of change, right? First step to any change is awareness. So it is the witness pillar for that reason. So let's get into the cost. And the reason why we talk about the cost on this channel is because that's what spurs people to change. All behavior has a consequence to it. And if you think that your behavior does not have a consequence to it, you are lying to yourself. Whether it is a good consequence or a bad consequence, all behavior comes in the form of a cause and effect, right? So this is the effect of sabotaging good moments, whether it's the short-term effect or the long-term effect. So what's the first effect? You never experience joy. And I just want you to sit with it, honestly. For a person who is constantly sabotaging good moments, this is a very real cost for your life. You never experience joy. The reason you never experience joy is because you don't trust it exists. So anytime you get close to it, anytime you get a glimpse of what could be a good moment, mind you, let's even go beyond just the idea of a good moment. Let's go beyond a span of, let's say the span of we'll give it a 3-year relationship, right? Or 3-year friendship, 3-year interaction, whatever, or job, anything. Let's give it 3 years, right? Just because not every single one of those moments that you had in those 3 years were good, that doesn't mean that it's not overall a good thing. Everything that you put your time, energy, and your heart into is going to come with some level of disappointment at times. It's going to come with some level of challenge at times. And the reason for that is because you're just dealing with people. And people are constantly growing, constantly trying to find themselves, constantly banging up against one another in order to come to some sort of resolve or some sort of understanding about themselves and how they interact with others in a healthy manner. So life and experiences require some level of grace, right? That's not to say that if you have a slew of bad moments, if you have a bunch of bad moments, that it's probably not something that you should, I wouldn't even say sabotage, because the word wouldn't be sabotage. You would be gracefully bowing out, right? Nobody should spend their whole life just constantly having bad moment. That's not what life is about. But good moments or good spans of time, like I said, we're talking about the 3-year, 5, whatever. Good spans of time come with challenging moments. So if you turn around and run, you sabotage everything at one challenging moment, you never get to experience the truest joys of life. You never get to experience what it's like to resolve with another person. You never experience what it's like to have another person see you as a flawed human being and love you anyway. Or have a boss see you as a person who is still learning and growing and support you within that. If you think that every challenging moment is a sign that the other shoe is about to drop, you never get to the greatest parts of life. You never get to experience that true joy. So that's one cause, right? Here's another cause. Safe people stop reaching as far. What does this mean? Safe people stop reaching as far. It means that, let's go back to our example of relationship. If you are in a relationship with a person who does not have the knee-jerk reaction to sabotage moments when things turn challenging, or sabotage moments that are just good out of the belief that things will turn bad. When the person that you're with does not have that reaction, they stop reaching out to you as far when you do have that reaction because it hurts them. It's really hard to be vulnerable with a person who is not willing to be vulnerable back. So while they may come to you in those moments and reassure you and remind you like, hey, this is a good thing, right? This is good. We're good. Even though we have challenges, we're good. If they have to continuously do that because you're a runner, you're a track star. Like if you're that person, they're not going to continue to stick their necks out to get hurt. They're not going to continue to try to keep your fears at bay because it hurts them every time they have to do it. Anytime you react in that way, or anytime y'all are having a good moment and you start an argument or something, like, they have to sit with the hurt in that. I understand, like I said, it's the validation. You've learned this as a pattern because it's something that you've experienced before. But if you're not in a situation that reflects that pattern, but you're still behaving like you're in a situation that reflects that pattern, you are hurting the person who you're going through it with because they're not the person that you're thinking about. Right? They're not the person who first showed that behavior. So they will not reach as far and as consistently as you would want them to. They're not going to keep proving themselves to you because it hurts for them to do that. Right? So that whole idea of like, if you love me, you would. If you love me when I flipped out, you wouldn't get mad. If you loved me when I sabotaged every good moment we had, you would quickly forgive me because you understand. You understand where I'm coming from. You understand what I've experienced. Yes, they may understand. But they don't have to live with it. They do not have to deal with it. The things that you understand, you do not have to sacrifice yourself for. That is not their responsibility to you. They have a responsibility to themselves, and you have a responsibility to not sabotage every good moment if you want to experience joy. They can't do that for you. You can't put that burden on them to do for you. So in order to do that, something has to change within you. So say people stop reaching as far. I feel like I got excited on that one, but I mean it, right? But I mean it not only for them, but I mean it for you because I want you to live the best life that you can live. I want you to experience joy. I want you to experience deep, loving, consistent relationship because that's what heals us and heals the world. Hurt people. Heal people have a chance of healing people. It's a bad example because they don't. Healed people can't necessarily heal people, right? Hurt people oftentimes do hurt people. But when you are a healed person, you can put that more into the world, right? Just like a hurt person puts hurt into the world, healed people can put peace and joy and understanding and, empathy into the world. And that makes the world a better place, right? It's a trickle effect. That makes the world a better place. So, 3, your nervous system never learns good can last. Your nervous system never learns that good things can last. And that's a lot of what we're talking about, what I've been talking about with experiencing joy. You never learn that your best life could be on the other side of that sabotage. You never learn that if you get over that hump or if you stop having that knee-jerk reaction to, things are good. That means, if something bad's about to happen. When you recognize that that is something that you do, then you can get to the place of experiencing joy because your nervous system will learn that good can last. You'll be able to see what happens on the other side of those moments, right? It's like you're in the middle of a movie and you keep cutting it off. Like when the good part happens or when you start seeing a challenge pop up, you cut it off. You never know how things are resolved. You never know how you can get to the other side. You never get to your happy ending, right? You keep bypassing it in hopes of having some sense of control of not being hurt. You're trying to control things so much that you never actually get to your happy ending. And we're giving an example right now of relationship because it's just an easy example to give, honestly. But it could be in all aspects of your life. It could be in friendship, like I said, it could be in a work relationship. It could be in familial relationships. All of those things. Your nervous system never learns that good can last. If you cannot withstand in those moments, if you cannot think, ooh, I'm about to sabotage this moment. Why? Right? Ooh, it's a good moment. Oh, because every time I experience a good moment, I feel like something bad's going to happen. Or, oh, this was such a good moment. Now we're facing challenges and it must mean something bad is about to happen, right? Or we're facing challenges, so I'm going to cut it before a bad thing even happens. Your nervous system never learns that a good thing can last. And by consequence, your nervous system never heals. The reason why we believe certain things, or the reason why we believe certain things is because we've seen them, right? We may have seen it happen over and over and over again. So the reason why that belief stays and it's easier for us to see that in the world is because it's easier for us to believe because we've seen it. It's harder for us to believe something that we've never seen. Even if somewhere deep down we know it exists, if we've never seen it and we've never experienced it, it's really hard for us to believe that it exists. So healing yourself in a lot of ways is stepping out on faith to go towards something you've never seen before. To heal yourself, you really have to step out on faith to go towards something you've never seen before. To heal yourself, you have to step out on faith to pursue something you have never seen before. You may be walking in a direction that you don't know exists. You may have seen it in movies. You may have seen it with the girl up the street. You may know people who have gotten what you want. But in order for you to fully believe it, in order for you to fully experience it, you have to defeat your patterns, which means you have to defeat your thoughts. You have to defeat your thoughts that lead to your actions and stay in these moments where you feel like you want to sabotage, because that is the only way you can see something different. That is the only way you rewire your own belief system. So just like by seeing things of your childhood of, well, every time something good happens, something bad happens. Just like you created that pattern, it is your responsibility now as an adult, as a consciously aware person, it is your responsibility to seek out to not only seek out, but to stay within uncomfortable moments so that you can rewire your own patterns, so that good moments are associated with good moments, so that challenging moments are associated with resolve. Conflict is good, right? You may not feel that way because you've seen so many negatives of conflict, but conflict is good because conflict can lead to understanding. But if you never stay within moments without sabotaging them, you can't rewire yourself. You got to step out on the faith because you've never seen it. You got to go against what you believe. You got to go against your patterns because that's the only way you heal yourself. You got to try something different. It's not going to knock on your door and rewire you. That's not the way it happens, right? The same way you created that pattern or the same way you observed people, or you took in that external information by the things that you saw, the same way you did that as a kid and formed those beliefs, you have to do the same thing as an adult and rewire those beliefs and to look for the good. And that takes a real level of responsibility and a real level of patience and a real level of faith. All right, let's get into 4. You stay, and this might be the suckiest one. You stay in survival mode even when life is finally calm. That was horrible. Let me write calm so you can really see it. You stay in survival mode when life is finally calm. You know what this means? That even when it's summertime, you still think it's winter. When it's summertime, when things are good, when the sun is shining, when the flowers are blooming, when there's laughter and all the beautiful things that come with warm weather, you treat it like it's winter. You're bundled up, you're cold, you're isolated, You're still you treat summertime like it's winter. You are living in what could be the best moments of your life. You are living in them like you're still in survival mode. You're living in them like they mean nothing and they're only here to come to an end. And so you don't appreciate it. And that is the saddest part of all of it, because you can get the life that you want and not even realize it. You can get everything you ever prayed for and not even realize it, not even appreciate it, not even experience it as the gift that it is. Because you haven't done the work to figure out, why do I keep sabotaging good moments? You haven't even thought that far. You're just, I don't know, pissy, argumentative. You're running out and doing, dumb stuff. You're coming to work late to a job that you really like because you think they're secretly going to fire you. You're doing all these things because you feel like it's too good to be true. This is worth doing, right? You are not sabotaging your life because you're just a person who can't be helped. You are sabotaging your life because you're scared. You are sabotaging good moments in your life because you are scared. And it makes sense why you are scared if this is what you've seen. But it may not make sense anymore. And that's a real question you have to ask yourself, because you have to live with the consequences of your actions. The sabotaging good moments right now in your life, does that still make sense? Is that still the thing that is protecting you? Do you still need that sense of control to protect yourself? Or are you now in a chapter of your life where your happiness requires you to be brave, requires you to be vulnerable? Is that where you are in your life? I can't answer that for you. Only you can answer that for yourself. And if this is really something that you are trying to figure out and something that I said resonated with you today, but you're just like, okay, I get it, but how? How do I begin the process of rewiring this thing? How do I begin the process of figuring out why my nervous system is having this reaction? I would love for you to join my school community where we can have these conversations, where we can dive so much deeper into what is going on in order to really figure out what's going on, right? In order for you to figure out what's going on, to make decisions that are more helpful to your life. So it's the Living Whole community on School. The link is in the bio. Again, on the Living Whole community, we look at everything through the whole method, the 5 pillars of the whole method: witness, heal, own, love, execute. Through those 5 pillars, you will be able to better understand your life so much more. You'll be able to see yourself, through a mirror, so that you can ask yourself better questions, you can give yourself better answers, and you can really unpack things to figure out how the things you have gone through in your life affect you today. If you're just interested in more conversations like this, please like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. We answer fantastic, relatable questions all the time. And if you're just looking for, more information on mental health, more mental health conversations, you can check me out on social media at Talk Therapy on the Go on TikTok and on Instagram. Take care.